soul here on our coverage with us. This is Greg Gitschier, a longtime police chaplain. You've been with us through so many tragedies, of course, the mass shooting at Old National Bank and others. And you saw this video, you saw the first responders going there. What's your message to the community tonight, Greg, as we try to understand this mass casualty event?
Right. Well, first of all, and I hear it a lot, and it's all fantastic. You know, condolences, sincere condolences, goes out to the family members of the people that have been pronounced dead or are missing. As you said, I was the first chaplain at the scene of the Old National Bank, and my job was when the family members showed up there to comfort them and bring them over to the family center, which was at the convention center. You know. And you know, and the worst thing about being a police chaplain, everybody thinks we do this for the police officers. Of course, we help them. 80% of it's for the victims and their families. So you know, when they call us, something tragic has happened, accident, homicide, suicide, whatever the case may be. Mass casualties. You know, we had, I think, 12 shot at Old Exec. Is that correct? 12, I think, was shot at the Old Executive Bank.
Old National.
Oh, I'm sorry, Old National Bank. And, you know, that's just really tragic. That's a thing that you'll never forget when you see some of those kind of scenes, right?
Greg, you counsel 5 departments. Talk about what counseling some of these first responders might need, folks that you work with all the time. This is a very difficult situation that they ran into tonight to help.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I was a police officer here in uniform for 6 years. Then I was a Secret Service agent for almost 22. I came back and Mayor Fisher asked me to be one of his bodyguards for another 5 years. So I have 11 years working with the police. So you know, you do see a lot of these things. While I was also on what was Joint Emergency Services Unit, which is a tactical SWAT hazmat team. So we were once again trained for. And we used to train at the airport for things that come over, whether it be an Ebola virus or whatever. But, you know, as from the spirituality, when I go to the scene and there's somebody underneath the sheet, you know, the first thing I ask for is, you know, can we pray? It doesn't matter what denomination you are or you're not. I always ask them, would you like to get together for a prayer? And that brings some comfort to them.
And with your background here, with the tragedies you just described, this is the first time we've had a major plane crash in our community. Again, a mass casualty event. What's the best advice you can give the community based on your years of experience having to deal with this?
Well, I'd say, you know, keep the family in your prayers. And then if you know these families and you could be there for them, you know, I do a lot of funerals. You know, I do baptisms, weddings, and funerals. And I tell people at the funerals, everybody wants to help you that first week or two. But then the next 3 weeks or 2 months go by and they don't hear from anybody. So try to be there to comfort these people as much as possible. You know, there's a lot of nice food things going on and all that, but that all fades away. So be good friends and check on them once in a while and all that. To regard to your other question, as a former police officer, well, for almost 35 years, I've seen a lot of death, okay? And it never really bothered me seeing it until I became a chaplain. And now this is my 16th year here in the police department. And seeing all the homicides and suicides, you know, started to get to me. And I remember one in particular, and I don't want to give out too much information because it's a family, right? But let me just say this. It was a
time at the moment.
Young person, right? It was a young person. And the officers that responded to that took it very, very hard because they had equal age. So I'm just saying, we're there to comfort whoever we can, but the police officers and the firefighters and the EMTs and paramedics, they also need to talk to somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And do you feel like the community is just kind of in a stunned moment right now? It's probably going to sink in a little bit tomorrow and the next day and the day after that.
This is the thing you see on the national news somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff. So, you know, and people don't think about UPS being an international hub, you know, and look how much all of us fly in and out of the airports. So, you know, we're there a lot throughout the year.
Remember, after the mass shooting, there was that amazing memorial service that we held at the Muhammad Ali Center outside the courtroom. How important was that for the community to come together on that day?
I think, you know, I think Louisville likes to consider themselves a big town, big city, but when something like this happens, it seems like it's a smaller town because well, I went to school with his uncle, or I know her because, you know, she goes out with my daughter or whatever. So it becomes a small town. And I think those group events, it does give people a chance to grieve. You got to grieve. And when I go to these scenes, some people grieve with, you know, rolling around in the ground screaming or want to fight. Other people just have that 70-yard stare, you know, and with zero reaction. So everyone grieves differently, but we need to give them that opportunity, whether it's in church or public place.
You guys mentioned the shooting at the bank, and of course, the Givaudan explosion was about a year ago.
Yeah,
Isaiah mentioned that. That's coming up, that anniversary. And so, and the mayor mentioned when he came on, another tragedy that we're dealing with. Having these tragedies so close together, how difficult is that, especially for these first responders who are dealing with it all?
Well, you know, I mean, God bless them, because they train all year long, you know, for these events, and they hope it never happens. And I certainly was a part of that. But when it does, you know, it kicks in, and you see these firefighters running into the fire and looking. You know, first of all, we try to rescue people. And then if it gets past that stage, then we try to recover the victims, right? So it's two different things. But, I mean, God bless them. They run right into danger, you know, without thinking about it.
And this was an enormous response because we had people, firefighters coming in from Lexington. You have said this consistently as you've joined us over the many years, is that if you're thinking that it may not be appropriate to say somebody who is hurting, forget that. Let them know you care.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, and like I said a minute ago, just don't say, hey, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. That's an easy way out. Just say, hey, I'm going to check with you tomorrow, or I'm going to bring some food over, or can my kids take your kids to the movies, or help out like that, you know. So, you know, do something what you can to help them get through it, because a friend of mine, he passed away, and I check on his widow constantly. And, you know, and my other friends are like, I don't know what to say to her, you know. But that's just it. She just appreciates so much just reaching out or sending a text. And I think that's the human nature, you know, that people care, and, you know, they just haven't forgotten you.
I was going to say something as small as a thank you for what you're doing for us.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. No, and, you know, I went through the protests, you know, as a chaplain, and, you know, a lot of the officers didn't feel comfortable going into certain restaurants, and there's a lot of hate going their way, and that was really hard on them and their families, you know. That was a tough time.
Greg, as we keep hearing from authorities, and it's pretty self-evident that this is going to be with us for the rest of the week. The governor has even warned that this number will rise again, as it has just moments ago, up to 7.
Yeah, and you know, I know 12 UPS pilots from my church, at least, probably more actually. And so the first thing my staff did, once I let everybody know what was going on, is they went through the list and they checked on each one of our pilots, and apparently they're all safe. You know, so that was a little bit of personal comfort for myself and, you know, the pastor and the other clergy members. You know, just to know that these are the people we see at church every weekend at Mass. So that was comforting, you know, that. But I just, you know, we just got to come together and honor these people. I think they said they're going to put the yellow lights on the bridge. Did the mayor say that?
It's already happening.
Yeah, it's already happening. I didn't notice I was coming down here. I was probably speeding.
There's the Big Fort Bridge.
Oh, there it is, right there. Yeah.
On our live camera, we can.
That's great.
We can show it. It's
community cares.
It's
right?
illuminated already at Waterfront Park.
The community cares, so, and that's important, you know, and you know, just reaching out and like I said, you see a firefighter or police officer or EMS, or I'm a former EMT or a paramedic, I'll buy them a cup of coffee, you know, pick up their lunch, you know. You don't have to do anything.
There we have it. The Big Fort Bridge over the Ohio River tonight.
Beautiful.
Yellow, of course, the part of UPS's colors, best known as Big Brown in our community.
What can Brown do for you, right?
There you go. Greg Gitschier, we thank you so much for coming in. Longtime police chaplain here, former Secret Service agent. And your father was a Secret Service agent.
He's FBI.
FBI,
That's like,
me.
Yeah, Marine in the Army,
sure
you know, but we still fight on the same side.
Okay, he was a wonderful man, too. Well, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you coming down here to 6 and Chestnut here at this late hour.
Anything to help out.
All right.
Connie, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.